Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. So as promised, I'll bring you a full racing guide from Act 1 until Kitaver Act 10. And guess what? It's not me racing because I'm slow as hell. So if I look at other racers like on the Exile con or something, these guys are so hilariously fast. They had like 1 hour until Kitaver Act 5 down. If I would take my time with full leveling gear, tabula rasa, 6 link, 20% quality gems, 7 league step in 1 hour, I'll probably be at the Val Oversoul, which is the boss in Act 2. And with me today is nobody else than Tyty Killer. That is one of the best racers this game has to offer. He was also playing on stage on the Exile con, so there was a bunch of qualifiers that you had to go through and win, so you get invited to the special event. So if you are on stage there at Exile con, you know you are freaking one of the best of the best. So hello sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing quite fine, I guess. So I have my coffee here, so everything should be fine for the next couple of hours, I guess.
All
So
right, sounds good, dude.
Tyty was I call it, I don't know, like he pre-recorded this run that we are going to watch now. So if you're wondering, this is not a live play. This is actually just like a video that we're going through, so we can stop once something is unclear for me. The good thing is, I personally have absolutely no idea how to race. My playstyle is I do every quest, every side quest, every skill point, like whatever is to do in the quest line. I kind of feel weird when I see my quest log and something is unopened, or at least like unfinished, right? And if you're racing, you're gonna skip the majority of the part because time matters, you know? For me, time doesn't matter. And I think this is a very important step here, because I think a lot of people are not interested in racing at all just because they have no idea how to do it. And I'm basically the softcore player, and we now have a professional racer here, so I will be same as you guys, having no clue. We're gonna watch this together, we're gonna analyze it, and every time I think something is weird or something is done that is not usual, I'm just gonna maybe stop that one and we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna get a professional insight of a racer like Ty. So, good. What is the first thing you are doing once you're basically in this login screen? The league is about to start. We have this timer basically running down. You're like 1 minute to go. What are you doing? What are your preparations basically once you're logging in?
So on the login, so you'll log in, you're in the queue, maybe you're in third in queue, maybe you're 20,000th in queue, but the matter of the fact is you get in, you log into the new league, whatever that is at the time. In this upcoming league, it's going to be Metamorph. You create your character. Hopefully, you've already got your name pre-made. You copy that from Notepad, paste it into the game, hit enter, spam enter until you get in. Right off the bat, you're going to want to skip all tutorials, and you're going to want to set another key of yours to move only. In my case, I use space. A lot of people use Q or W, or it's really any key you want, but you need to make sure that you have another key on move only.
So basically, this is that even if you're clicking on something, you're just moving over through it.
Yep.
So this is actually, I saw that one in a lot of racing. I did some research basically, right? But I just, I never cared about really racing, but I know a little bit of things. So as we see, he's just assigning here the move only command on his spacebar. That means even if he clicks on the glass shank here, he will just move over it. He will not probably pick it up here, right? But yeah.
Correct.
The race basically starts, you're picking up your first weapon, kill the first zombie, picking up Viper Strike. And this is something I see on a lot of racers. He's permanently using his move only command, whatever he's doing. So if he picks up the gem, he's move only towards a direction. While the character is moving, he's socketing his gem. So he's never losing a second here. So he picks up the gem, still has his control. Sometimes he even has the gem on his mouse, so not socketed, just on his mouse picked up, and still using this move only command to maneuver around and then not wasting a single second on the way to Hillock, basically, right? If I got this properly. Perfect.
That's exactly correct. Another thing to note is that I've already typed out NN. This allows me to look for runner's boots, which are movement speed boots, but they have the prefix of runners. So when I talk to Tarkley in town, I'm able to look for my colors, which are blue, blue, green, blue, 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 or green, green, blue. And if I don't find any of those, I just paste in NN for runners again, and then that'll allow me to look for what I need.
Basically, the runners are the one of its kind, basically, because I see a lot of people writing move, and I was wondering when I was watching this now, why do you type NN? But it makes sense if you say like it's a suffix or prefix that it has the prefix the runners. So this is the only thing that can happen basically here, right? This is like 5% movement speed, or what is it, 10%?
It's 10% MS.
So you cannot have any 5% basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're picking up your first skill gem here. What was it?
It was Stormblast Mine. Basically, it detonates in a sequence. If you're ever familiar with Blast Chain, the more mines you throw out at one time, the stronger the chain will be.
All right, so this is basically, they added this one last league, I guess, right, with the miner rework, because
Yep.
I'm not a miner fan, I'm not a trapper player, so this is totally new stuff for me. So a lot of people don't like mines at all, so it's basically also a small explanation here, which is kind of good. One thing I want to go over is your loot filter and your how to put in skill points. So if you're gonna pause this real quick and go back a couple seconds, so you're opening your skill tree, and usually you pick your point and then set apply skill point, for example. But there's another way to do that. If you hold down the control key, you can instantly put this one, and it kills it already. So you're not losing time. So the thing is, you have to save as much time as possible. So you're running somewhere, and in this movement where you clicked, you have time like a second to open your skill tree, hold down control, click your skill point to never lose. So your character is basically never standing still, right?
Mm-hmm. That's completely correct.
All right, so what about your loot filter? You said that
So
you
my
were
loot filter,
doing a separate loot filter basically for every single race or something like that, right?
yeah. So the loot filter pretty much shows everything. This is because sometimes you need like just one extra blue socket in your gloves or in your helm, and so I pretty much show almost every item like all the way through. My loot filter shows a lot of things and hides a lot of things that are useful for like a trade league, for example. But I do this because racing is very different than an actual league start. In that you're focused on the speed. If you watch the Exile con, you can see that Ty 23 stops picking up items after Dominus, but you would obviously never do that in a league start, right? So
Yeah, makes sense, yeah. So basically he reaches his full gear on Act 3 after Dominus, basically, and then he just speeds up here. Right,
Yep.
so you're skipping the Tile Island, or at least like doing it later, just to save the optimum time, basically, right? So you're picking up those rower eggs or whatever, glyphs, put it in a wall, and basically go to the waypoint and then go back. So this is basically the fastest way to do it, I guess?
Yeah, so there's two reasons why we go to Mudflats instead of Tidal Island. The first one is that the gems that you get from Submerged are level 4, and we basically want to cut down how many times we have to go to town while also maximizing the benefit we get from town. So by going to Submerged and then Tidal Island, we are able to get both our level 4 gems and our Quicksilver at the same exact time. On top of this, if you go from town to Tidal Island, it's pretty unlikely that you'll level up. Whereas if you go to Mudflats and then you go to Tidal Island, it's very likely that you will level up. And every time you level up, it'll reset the vendors. So we can talk to Nessa again and look for our wands. We can talk to Tarkly, look for movement speed, look for any other colors we need. And it's just really convenient overall. So that's the pathing that we take here.
Like, seriously, I never heard that once you level up that the vendor resets. It's the first time I ever hear that, because I usually never buy stuff of vendors, basically, you know? But it's like trade league stuff, I guess. But yeah, you're having like some insanely burst DPS. So the character, can you talk something about the character? Because I think the current meta is some Orb of Storms playstyle, I think, and you're picking a miner. Is there any specific reason you do that?
Sure. So I go ahead and pick up Miner here because I think that Orb of Storms is probably going to get nerfed next patch. I decided that it would be best if I focused more on Frost Bomb rather than using Orb of Storms, like what most people are doing at the moment. Even if Orb of Storms gets nerfed, we're still going to use it because Stormblast Mine is good. I mean, I guess Stormblast Mine could also get nerfed, but seems a little less likely. And I mean, we'll still use the combo because the way that Orb of Storms works is you throw it down, and anytime you use a lightning skill, it will zap nearby monsters. So you throw it on Orb of Storms, and you throw it on Stormblast Mine, and you can see right there, zap, 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 and it's hitting the monsters as long as you're near it. Here I make a mistake, and I have a chest piece in, but I just kind of didn't notice it. I'm just focused on other things.
All right, so basically, because I see a lot of people not using a chest because it's a hidden movement decrease, right? I think like every chest gives you 3% less movement speed or something, right?
Yeah, if you use a stronger, like a heavy chest, like armor base typically, it'll be 5% less MS instead of 3.
Oh, and evasion and cloth is like 3%, basically.
Yep.
All right. For the skill gems that you're picking up, is there any particular reason why you take like exactly those? Like, I don't know, like you're using Frostblink now, potentially you're gonna go Flame Dash later on. Like, can you go over the setup, what to buy when?
Sure. So the gems you need before you leave town as a caster, whether you're a Shadow, a Witch, or a Templar, is you need to have Frostbomb, Link to Onslaught, and then you'd like to have Frostblink, Arcane Surge, and Orbistorms. Now, they don't all have to be linked, but ideally you'd have Frostblink and Arcane Surge. On top of that, you're going to need Stormblast Mine and Swift Assembly, and if you can, use Lesser Poison on that. So we essentially have 4 different gems here. The way that they work is we're going to throw out our Frost Bomb whenever we can. So we'll throw out Frost Bomb on those packs, but you can see that Frost Bomb goes on cooldown. So whenever it's on cooldown, we're going to use Orbistorms on a pack, and then we're going to Frost Blink over it. This way, the pack will still die, we'll still get experience, but that's only used when we don't have our Frost Bomb up. So you can see I Frost Bomb this, and now we don't have Frost Bomb. Well, now we do. But right now, I'm doing the trick that we went over earlier, where you can move with items still on your cursor by using another move command.
All right, so Frostbomb basically you permanently grant you the onslaught, which gives you also 20% move. And this is something you basically do until the end of days, basically, right? So the onslaught perma buff is something that speeds you up insanely. What kind of colors, links, combinations you're looking here?
So the links are going to be blue, blue, green, blue, 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 and green, green, blue. I have 2 out of those 3. The last thing I'm looking for is a blue, blue, green. That's because after lower prison, you're able to go ahead and use added lightning in the frost bomb setup, and that adds a lot of damage. Currently, people will just switch out frost bomb and they'll use Orbistorms from that point onwards. So if Orbistorms doesn't get nerfed, you can feel free to do that. One thing I'd like to note here is that when I was in Submerged Passage, right before the bridge, if you place a portal, you can actually come back to it later when you're in lower prison. Now that we go through the portal and we're going to go do Dweller of the Deep, after we log out from Dweller of the Deep, we're going to be able to pick up everything. So we get our level 8 gems, which are added lightning, and we are able to also get the skill point from Dweller.
All right, and you also reset the vendors and keep on looking for the runner's booth.
Yep, and like... not only... Sorry. I was going to say, not only are we looking for the boots, but we're looking for our colors. Regardless of what class you play, you always need to look for your colors when you're in town, because it means that you're able to get the maximum chance of having your setup. So like if you're a ranger, for example, you would look for 3 green. If you were melee, for example, you look for like red, red, green. And just checking for these in town every time is very important.
I'm like super impressed by that damage you just put out. Like I just see my runs basically, and I know how long it takes me to kill the Dweller basically. Oh, what was the render recipe?
Can you go ahead and pause the video?
Wait a second. So let me go a little bit back here. I want to see the vendor recipe that you just did. Oh no, it's too long. Yeah, never mind. I'm going, please.
So this is back before Dweller, but the damage is actually about to double from the vendor recipe. So what you do for this vendor recipe is you take a magic wand. So that's my blue, blue, blue setup. I know that I'm going to use this wand for a long time, so I go ahead and preemptively use a transmute on it. And then you sell the magic wand with an alteration with a ring that is either a topaz, ruby, or sapphire. Now, topaz is the best because it gives lightning damage, and lightning damage is just it does significantly more damage, I suppose. Well, not significantly; it's only about 14% more than cold. But we opt for the lightning ring. If you noticed earlier, I sold the iron ring with the so you can see the iron ring and the green gem. We're going to sell that for a topaz ring. So you can see me sell here. So sell, sell, sell. There's the topaz ring. Right. If you sell a normal ring with an alteration and a magic wand, you're going to get a tier 8 flat damage roll that requires level 8. if you use a magic one or a magic ring with an alteration and a magic wand, you're going to get a T7 roll, and it's going to require level 14. And if you use a rare ring, it's going to be a rare ring, alteration, and magic wand, and it'll require level 20, but it'll give you a T6 roll. Now, we figured out that the sooner you do the craft, the better, especially with the new bosses coming up. It's going to be very important that you're able to get your hands on this craft, if you can. I don't find that I can always do it, but you can see my damage is 30.5. When I put on this wand, it's 56.9.
That's a massive, massive DPS boost.
Yep.
Talking about the league start, are you typically using the league mechanic?
No, we don't do the league mechanic until maps. Just because you can imagine it like running the league mechanic in Act 2 is kind of like if you were to do the league mechanic in a white map with no rolls on it. So by doing that, you're not getting any extra quantity, you're not getting any extra rarity, you're not getting that much XP unless you need it. But you can just play around the game, assuming that you're going to get enough XP at all points anyways.
Okay. Because that's just my experience once you, like, when the league starts and there is a new mechanic, like, for example, Blight, it just feels like the Blight mechanic early on has, like, a much, much higher chance to drop, like, a Tabula, a Gold Rim, I don't know, the Wanderlust Boots or something like that, that would actually increase your speed, right? But it's just a gamble, basically, right? Like, if you get it, GG. If not, then it's wasted time.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the Tabula, but...
Okay. Well, I get your point there.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people will talk about that. Some people will say like, well, I dropped like 3 gold rims from doing Blight this league, and I say, okay, well, how long did it take you to get to maps? And they're like, okay, well, it took me about 14 hours to get to maps, and it's like, well, if you got to maps in say 7 hours and you didn't do the mechanic because you're spending a lot more time in each zone, if you got to maps in 7 hours, you can imagine it like you have an extra 7 hours to spend in maps. Yeah, I noticed that I was wearing a chest piece here, and this is when I was like, wow, this run's so good, and then I remembered, oh, I'm wearing a chest piece.
That you wear a chest piece that you actually didn't want to do. Okay.
Yeah, this is a big mistake of mine. I mean, it only slows me down by like a few seconds, right? But
yeah, well, in racing, a few seconds is a few seconds.
Yep.
Like, I saw a couple of races, and I saw how freaking close those are. It's legit, like, it's probably like a 2 hours race on some parts, like a Siri kill or something. I'm not sure if it's exactly 2 hours, but the main message is somebody killed at Siri, and like 2 other people were on after the trio on the way to its Siri. So it's like, although it's a 2-hour run, there's like 1 minute difference here, and it's like insanely how people are managing to pull off those strategies to just have such an insane timing.
Yep. And on the Brutus kill, if you walk forward ever so slightly, you can go ahead and pre-trap them like we did there. And you have to make sure that your Stoneblast Mine is on attack without moving. And this is just, I mean, when you got one-shotted like that, that's just the power of the craft. Here at level 10, we go ahead and pick up a Smoke Mine, and we use Flame Dash in addition. And this is when we start doing the Wombo combo.
This is something I had to practice yesterday, and I was always wondering, I always thought that you guys are using like double Flame Dash or something, and you always have Smoke Mine, and then I figured out that both Smoke Mine and Flame Dash sits on the same cooldown, so you're basically throwing the Smoke Mine ahead, you're activating, so you get teleported to the Smoke Mine on the same pace you're using Flame Dash to get even further. So basically just throw Trap, activate it, and then Flame Dash. Is that correct here?
That is correct.
And this gives you like so much insane speed. It's just a pleasure to watch here. Holy shit.
Yeah, so using this trick is very useful because you're spending 2 charges at once, which allows you to you're basically running more often because you're at a low amount of charges. You can see that once I have 2 charges or 3 charges, I'll go ahead and throw a Smoke Mine and then detonate it and then cast Flame Dash after, just like you said. And this means that we're spending quite a bit of time running around. And what that ends up doing is that we spend more time running, which Smoke Mine gives us a movement speed benefit.
30% or something.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. Here, I go ahead and look around for the cave, and I actually spent a lot of time like misreading the zone. I actually kind of like this run because you can already see that there's a lot of mistakes. Like this is a mistake, and It's almost like humanizing in a way, because this is like, anybody could make a mistake like that. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I decided to go for no Fairgraves, but after I killed Merveil, I decided to go back for it just because I wanted to do it as an all passive all skill run. Ideally, you would find the Fairgraves waypoint, and you would find the Fairgraves cave in the ship graveyard cave, and then you would run through it, grab the all flame, you'd run to the waypoint in caverns, and then after that, you'd take the waypoint back to Fairgraves. You would kill Fairgraves, and then you would log out to town. This way, we can get the level 12 gem from going to caverns, and we can get the skill point from doing Fairgraves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, yeah. They're just trying to minimize the idle time basically running around here. So picking up waypoints before going back just saves you time basically, yeah. But in the end, this map reading is just something that comes from experience. Because in the end, I don't think that somebody that is, let's say, is first time ever playing this game has a chance to be a successful raider, because it just racer. It's just about constant progressing and doing it over and over and over again. And you, of course, the zones change in the layout, but at some point you know kind of where is the entrance, where do I have to go, where is this, where is my veil, where is the cavern, and so on. So it just comes from a lot of practice. And yeah, this basically sums this one up. Let's check out the Merveil kill. I guess it's just going to be a kind of one-shot. Look at that damage! It's insane, dude! What the fuck?
Yeah, this is what the Wandcraft does. You can notice that I cast Flame Dash to proc Arcane Surge. I mean, I didn't get it there, but it doesn't matter, dude.
Holy shit, dude. Sorry, I'll have to go back a little bit here. That is actually
watch it again?
Freaking nutty, dude. The timer says 15 minutes to basically kill off Act 1. And then pre-stacking again while she's facing, and then do detonate everything once more, and then just have this insane chain reaction.
Yeah, I was really happy
dude, that was actually insane. So now you go back basically to Fairgraves, right? I'm just impressed, dude. I don't know, like, I see my playstyle with the Tabula and 20% gems, and it takes me 10 times longer to actually kill off a boss like you do. It's actually insane here. And now the proper read here, and then you get the skill point. Yeah. So Act 1 is basically completely finished. It's actually, I'm just like, I mean, I did expect some of these runs, right? So from just watching you while you're talking and explaining here, but seeing that, how fast you are while still doing everything that I'm doing too, but just it takes me 45 minutes approximately on League Start to hit Actium. Okay, maybe 30 minutes, okay? But still, it's twice as fast as you're doing here. That's actually
it's one of the reasons why I got into racing so much, is it was like, okay, well, I'm doing this poorly, or like, okay, I misread this, and I was wearing a chest piece the whole time. There's always things to improve on the runs. And by focusing on the racing aspect of it, I'm able to turn it into its own mini game. So a lot of people will see leveling as like a nuisance, right? It's just what you have to do before you can actually play the game for most people.
For me, example, yeah.
But the way that I see it is, it's like, okay, how am I going to get my links? Okay, I'm going to get those links from going to town. How am I going to get the XP I need? Okay, I got to farm this zone a little bit. And how am I going to get all the skill points and stuff I want? You can see here that I adjusted to the run, and I just did Fairgraves afterwards rather than like running straight to it. But that's not like something that's ideal, but it's how we adapt to the situation.
All right, and here we are, Act 1 completely finished. The timer at the moment is 17 minutes, so basically it was 15 on the Merveil kill, but going back, picking up Fairgraves, so we have all the skill points. So I think it depends on what race is it. I mean, a race League Start is basically way different than if you would say, hey, the Kitaver finals here, or at least like this race where you had to kill Act 5 Kitaver. I think there is a lot of things that you are basically skipping, just you don't need it, right?
Yeah. If you are interested in like racing specifically, you can watch things like the world record that I posted about a month ago. You can watch Havoc 616 when he's doing like, super try hard, no passive, no skill point kind of things, no trials. That's typically what we do in early game speedrunning. So if we're going to Act 5, we're not going to do skill points. We're not going to do trials. We're not going to do anything like that. But that's just not realistic. So that's what I really want to do with this run, is show you like, okay, here's how you can do it, getting everything that you need, being set up for a league start, and being successful at it.
And this is what you would do next week on Friday when 3.9 is hitting, basically that
Correct.
kind of run. All right.
Yep.
Good. That's it for the first part of this 10 video series where we're gonna go over every single act, and Tyty will basically coach me and teach us how to do it properly. And the good thing is you can just rewatch and replay basically. So you have, like, for example, every gamer has like 2 monitors. Just keep the video on the right side and try to be as fast as him. We are currently in 17 minutes on Act 2 now. So basically what you can do is now log in, get some hype done, create your character, do your own run, and be like, hey, okay, Marvell is down, let's go Act 2. What is my timer? Probably, if it would be me, like 31 minutes or something. So there is a lot of room to and potential, and you can just keep on going. If you say like, okay, let's go to the 5-minute mark. Where is Tyty? He's right here. After 5 minutes, where I am. So you can really like progress and try to be as fast as him. And we're gonna find out in the next upcoming videos on the other acts, what is he doing as in specific to be that fast. So guys, thanks for tuning in and thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.